Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news throughout the day that I come across, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are having a wonderful day. Today is Monday, July 14th, and I am a away until I will be in Colorado for college, which is pretty cool to say. Yeah, hopefully all you guys are doing well. It's been a interesting day throughout the news world, but it is Monday, so hopefully all you guys had a wonderful weekend, and hopefully all you guys have a wonderful week, whether you're on summer vacation or working this week, whatever it is. I hopefully you all enjoy. But with that being said, let's get right into the news from today. Moving into the Trump administration segment, if my tab will load, as they seem to always struggle. The first topic we have today is Trump has announced a 100% secondary tariffs on Russia. Trump has announced that he will impose 100% secondary tariffs on Russia and countries that do business with them if there is no peace deal to end the Ukrainian war in 50 days. He said in the Oval Office, "We're going to be doing secondary tariffs. If we don't have a deal within Russia within 50 days, it's very simple. They'll be at 100%." Trump said he is very unhappy with Russia and he wishes to sell more weapons to NATO, who would give them to Ukraine. This is interesting to say the least. I do not think a 100% tariff is going to work. I will be completely honest. As nice it would be to have a war ended rather than one started for once, I don't think tariffs are going to be the reason to do it. I hate to say it. Also it seems interesting that he won't tariff Russia themselves and is just tariffing the countries that do business with Russia. But Putin's orange puppy is, always pretty hands off with the country, it seems. So not too shocking by that one. My camera just turned off. And it's back on. Hello guys, how's it going? New computer soon, I promise. I know, I'm working on it. I know, I'm sorry. It just doesn't like the heat either. Um, See, now my entire tab's lagging. New computer soon, I promise, guys. Moving on, the Pentagon has signed a $200 million agreements with XAI and other AI companies. Elon Musk's AI company XAI has gotten a $200 million contract with the Department of Defense, along with three other major tech companies: XAI, Anthropia, Anthropic, however you say that. Google and OpenAI have all received contracts with the same ceiling to boost government's adoption of advanced AI. Doug Mattey, the Defense Department's chief digital AI officer, said in a statement, "The adoption of AI is transforming the department's ability to support warfighters and maintain strategic advantage over our adversaries." Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Things like AI and robots need to be regulated, and it is key that we do so. I had a discussion with a friend of mine on the current state of the United States, and, we talked about AI and robots in the future and how they would impact the world as a whole because of them, or how the world would be impacted as a whole because of them. And I strongly believe that it is essential to regulate AI and robots to make sure that it doesn't go wrong. AI and robots are a good tool to assist how we do and how we go about things in our day to day lives, but they shouldn't be how they are now. AI is shifting towards a lifestyle rather than a tool, and that shouldn't be the case. We already see it now every day in education. Students are using AI to do their assignments rather than doing it themselves, which isn't okay. It really shouldn't be. AI needs to be regulated, and we need to make sure that people aren't just using it to get by. It's okay when you use it for a tool, but it's not okay when you use it to do everything for you. You know, um, a huge part of my friend and I's discussion was where the world's heading, and we used media as a kind of a frame to kind of display how we thought the world was heading. We also had a discussion on China. We talked about this a few days ago, where the United States got all of NASA, and China is likely hiring all of those workers, and likely will have space advancement in the future. We talked about the way the world is heading, and especially with space and with robotics. And this was the point that I offered. So if any of you guys agree, feel free to disagree or whatever. But my point was that the where we are heading with AI and space travel and Chinese dominance is that likely we are going to experience a world more similar to cyberpunk, and we should kind of strive to shift for a world more like Star Wars, if you will. Not looking too deep into the lore on that one, because Star Wars has a lot of moving parts, but if you look at it, there's all these different worlds. They have for the most part free ideologies, and are able to do as they please. If we don't look at the Outer Rim in Star Wars, if you will. And then, you look at cyberpunk, and it's largely dominated by corporations. People have had robotics and AI take over their lives, and there are even people who are essentially taken over by, robotic attachments, which is insane. That's where I believe is where we're kind of heading more towards a society, a cyberpunk kind of world. And, I think we should, strive to, yes, incorporate robotics and AI in our lives, but, not make sure it takes full control, if you will. Moving on, the Trump administration is urging red states to build their own alligator Alcatraz facilities. After opening up alligator Alcatraz in the Florida Everglades, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is looking into an expansion of the facilities in other states. Noem said she wants to double the capacity of ICE centers across the country, and her focus is mainly on 5 Republican states. It's unclear which states are in the ones to type in the talks to open up these facilities. I expected this. It wasn't going to be long before the Trump administration tried to expand facilities like this throughout the countries. And these facilities likely will be just as bad, if not worse, than Alligator Alcatraz, depending on the state. I'm not shocked to hear this. It was only a matter of time. And it is absolutely disgusting that is happening. These facilities are horrid. People are being treated horribly. I mean, even the guards are given larger portions than inmates, and inmates only get 1 meal a day in these facilities. That is absolutely fucking disgusting and should not be the case anywhere in the world. Fuck ICE and fuck Donald Trump. I mean, they are both problems in our American society, that need to be removed ASAP. Moving on, the Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to dismantle the Department of Education. The Supreme Court has ruled that it will allow the Trump administration to continuing dismantling the U.S. Department of Education. The court stayed a preliminary injunction issued in May directing the administration to stop gutting the department and reinstate employees. The case will continue through lower courts, and this is not the final word, but it deals a huge blow to states and schools who had sued the administration. People are going to struggle with education, especially over the next 4 years. The education system in this country is already horrid. Thousands of children go through school and don't learn basic skills like reading or writing, and that's not okay. Trump is going to make that way, way worse. We need to fix the education system in this country and make sure students are actually getting what they need rather than taking it away from them. Abolishing the standards set by this government, although it is a horrible standard, is still going to be horrible, as it is going to allow schools to make cuts on things that students need to actually learn. I am going to be 100% honest. I would not be surprised if we saw a rise in stupidity in the United States, to put it plain and simple. And we likely will if we do not fix the education system. And I will guarantee you 100% anything that the Trump administration tries to do to the education system is only going to contribute to the rates of stupidity in this country that will rise because of them. Moving on, Trump has kept the FIFA Championship trophy. Trump has revealed that he kept the FIFA Club World Cup trophy ahead of the Chelsea team's win. FIFA President Gianni Infantino visited the White House in March with the trophy and asked Trump to hold on to the trophy for a little while. Trump would then ask the president, "When are you going to pick up the trophy?" And the president said, "We're never going to pick it up. You can have it forever in the Oval Office, so we're making a new one." Trump then said they actually made a new one, so that was quite exciting. It's in the Oval Office right now. I'll be honest, I don't understand the reasoning for this. I mean, there is really no point. Why does the president need a World Cup trophy, when he has nothing at all to do with this team? It seems like a waste of time, a waste of funds, a waste of a trophy. Overall, it is stupid. He doesn't. It's not like the president gets a Lombardi or a Larry O'Brien trophy when, the NBA or NFL team comes and visits after their championship. It just seems like a waste. It really does. Moving on to the ice segment, farmers feel like they are being hunted like animals. Undocumented farm workers feel like they are being hunted like animals, according to a new report from The Guardian. ICE has caused workers to lose hours and income as they've had to hide in their homes. One migrant from Ventura County, California said, "We really feel like we're being hunted. We're being hunted like animals." Another said, "You can't go out peacefully to do things or go to work with peace of mind anymore. We're stressed out. Our kids are stressed out. No one is the same since these ICE raids have started. We are stressed. Excuse me, sorry. We are stressed and worrying if it continues like this. Sorry again. Holy. What are we going to do? Because the rent is very expensive, and it has affected us a lot. How are we going to make ends meet if this continues? This is not okay, and I know MAGA is going to run around the street saying this is a great thing, but it's not. It's really not. The United States government is hunting down the people who feed you. I mean, what happens when grocery store prices rise because nobody's tending to the fields or helping with harvest? And they will. If you thought egg prices were bad, trust me, you haven't seen the bare minimum of it. It will get much worse. It will. It really will. I mean, your average day American, like it or not, is not going to work in those fields. They are not going to be, like the people like me who grew up on a farm, who are willing to go out to the fields and work in those fields to harvest your vegetables. They aren't going to do that. And, any MAGA person who's watching this video, because I know you're out there. I know you're watching this video. I know you're probably typing your little comments saying, "Oh, no, you're a bad person. You're wrong. Whatever." Let me know your thoughts about this. Then, would you go work in a fields to go harvest vegetables, or would you rather sit in your little office job and spout your bullshit on the internet? Truly, because I guarantee you, none of you have the balls to go out there and work in 102-degree heat to go pick fruits and vegetables in a field, bending your back over. I mean, you're not going to do that. You really aren't. And that's not just a dig on MAGA. People on the left aren't going to do that. There are plenty of people who aren't going to do the work that farmers do. So I don't get, why people are actively going out and saying this is a great thing. Who do you expect to do that work? Because if it's not going to be you, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody in the administration pushed for it to be children or anyone. Who is it going to be if it isn't going to be you? Who do you expect it to be if it isn't going to be the undocumented migrants who come as seasonal workers or who move to the United States to come for that opportunity to work better for their family? You're all caught up in, deporting these people, feeling like it doesn't really affect you. It will affect you when grocery prices get higher, bottom line. It will affect you when nobody is out there harvesting those crops, bottom line. I don't expect to see you in the fields. I will be working in harvest. Where will you be? Where will you be, truly? Moving on, the Nassau County has allowed cops to wear masks during ICE raids. The Nassau County executive, Bruce Blankman, has created a key exemption to the county's mask ban, allowing local cops to wear masks during ICE raids and when working undercover. The existing law only exempts public mask wearing for religious and health reasons, but this new order gives federal, state, and local law enforcement officers the option to wear masks as well. Blankman said during the signing, "Here in Nassau County, we respect our law enforcement and we have their back." No cop or federal agent should be allowed to wear a mask. If the people pay your salary, they should be able to know who you are. Officers who refuse to do so shouldn't be on the job. Either way, people will find out who these agents are, and they will be put on trial. They know what they're doing. Trust me, they know what they're doing, But that doesn't mean they'll get away with it. Humanity, in the end, always will win, and it'll prevail. They aren't going to get away with this simply because they're just wearing a mask. They think so, but there's much more information out there than just a mask. Moving on to the other news segment today, a family has started an investigation, or is asking for an investigation, after an American citizen got killed by Israeli settlers. Israeli settlers in West Bank beat a U.S. citizen to death during a confrontation between Palestinians and Israelis. A municipal official and relative confirmed the death of 21-year-old Sofala Musalet, who was born in Florida and was visiting family in the region. Musalet's family said in a statement that the Israeli settlers surrounded him for 3 hours and attacked any medics who attempted to reach him. They said, "We demand that the U.S. State Department lead an immediate investigation and hold the Israeli settlers who killed Saif accountable for their crimes. We demand justice." D.C. has previously refused in any attempts to investigate the killing of U.S. citizens by Israeli forces, and Israel itself never looks into charges against soldiers or settlers. The State Department is aware of the situation and is only willing to provide consular services rather than going into an investigation. This is the 9th U.S. citizen to be killed by Israeli forces since 2022, and not a single one has ended in criminal charges. The fact that the State Department is only willing to offer counseling is absolutely fucking insane. That is disgusting. And I'm not even shocked. Israel could bomb the White House and politicians would still be sucking on Netanyahu's ass. They really would be. It is a genuine problem in this country when it shouldn't be the case. Super PACs and PACs in general need to be banned. Things like AIPAC should not exist, period. We should not be letting foreign governments or corporations dictate what political leaders do. For years, AIPAC has honestly, or essentially, that is not honestly, it is a fact that AIPAC has lobbied for Israel and has been the sole reason that things like this happen. It is the reason why we do not look into Israeli soldiers killing U.S. citizens. If it were any other country, there would be an investigation into it. But the problem is, Israel just buys every politician out, and that shouldn't be the case. That should be a problem, and the fact that it isn't is disgusting. Moving on to the final topic for tonight, the EU is set to tariff cars, planes, whiskey, and more. The EU is looking to target $72 billion in U.S. goods in retaliation to the tariffs from the Trump administration, including aircraft, cars, and car parts, and much, much more. The list also includes alcohol products and agricultural products, despite lobbying from France and Ireland to shield alcohol from the tariffs. The EU said there is a need to rebalance/level the playing fields in light of U.S. tariffing affecting EU exports to the U.S. and will take into account if there is any availability of alternative sources of supply from outside or inside of the EU. Trump's tariffs will be the reason that the relationship between the United States and the European Union will be destroyed. Europe can and will be very successful without the United States. It's just a matter of time before that happens. Countries like Germany and Poland will rise and are currently rising into more dominant powers, and we likely will see a shift in tides from Europe. I mean, if the European Union wants to move away to the United States, there is no doubt in my mind that they could be successful without him. It just is a matter of reorganizing. It really is. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing, dropping a like, dropping a comment down below. Let me know your take on all the news from today. The goal is 500 subscribers on YouTube, and it would mean the world to me if we could get there by the end of the summer. Let's try and do it. If you're on Substack, please consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They'll help me pay for the things that I'll need to pay for. As mentioned, I'll be going to college shortly. If you subscribe before Thursday of this week, you will get 20% off of your subscription throughout the entire year. So if you want to subscribe now and get a nice little deal, instead of $6 a month, it'll be $8 a month. So if you're interested, check that out in the Substack. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.